And Jalen Rose, it starts with Kyrie Irving at the center of so much conversation and so much drama. And his Celtics going into the toughest place in the league to play against Steph Curry and the Warriors in Oakland. But right from the get-go, the Celtics were hot.
Absolutely, and it started with Kyrie being a distributor, moving without the ball. The Boston Celtics, when they get stagnant, they're easy to guard. You see a lot of moving, you see a lot of cutting, and therefore it results into a layup.
Celtics an 11-0 run to start the game, and then how about Jalen Brown? You want to talk about taking it with authority.
Absolutely, and that's what he has to do. Obviously, you want to make your open jump shots, but when you get a chance to cut and finish like that, go up strong, big fella.
Celtics up 17. Now they're up 20. Oh, Marcus Smart, a gorgeous feed for Gordon Hayward.
On a team full of playmakers and skilled guys, Marcus Smart is actually the best passer on the Boston Celtics.
Warriors down 25 at the half. Largest home halftime deficit under Steve Kerr, and it wouldn't get any better. Why is Jason Tatum this open?
He should never be that open, Mike Greenberg. That's why you see two guys trying to figure it out. Nobody guarding a hoop, and Steve Kerr is wondering why.
Celtics are up 21 points, and then how about the defensive effort from Tatum, stuffing Kevin Durant?
He didn't catch the ball cleanly on the pass from Steph, gave Tatum a chance to recover. Great block.
Late in the third now, it's Hayward going to get out in the passing lane. He's going to throw this down. Good to see him have a huge night.
It is 30 points, and also the Warriors showed a lot of vulnerability, in particular when they're playing without Klay Thompson.
We're still in the third quarter. That's Kyrie from the corner. They go over 100, and they're still in the third quarter there, and then it's Hayward from the other side. Again, this is the next possession, so they're knocking down wide open shots. They're up 29 points.
That pass was a cosmic shift. Normally, Kyrie Irving actually shoots that basketball, got it to Hayward for the open jump.
And then the only other thing that we want to show you is that there was some frustration here from Boogie Cousins late in the game. He would get teed up, so would Terry Rozier.
Yeah, they were down big late in the game. Some frustrations continued to boil over. Referees did a good job of making sure nothing escalated.
And so when it's all said and done, on a very interesting night in a variety of different ways, the Celtics get a big win they desperately need. Kyrie Irving and company in Oakland.
That long plane ride helped us out. I'll just say that. That long plane ride helped us out. We needed it. We needed it. It was just, we were going to get to a point where we were just going to get tired of, fighting each other, fighting in, the outside world, and it doesn't really matter. So we just want to come out here and just play basketball. This is our sanctuary, and we have to do everything to protect it. We can't let anybody infiltrate this.
Right from the beginning, just the level of competition wasn't where it needed to be. We did not go all out, and it was embarrassing.
Bad news, Warriors fans. The 2016 Cavs are the only home team in the last 50 years to lose a game by 30 points. Again, lose a 30-point home game in the season and then wind up winning the championship. It was actually Golden State that beat that team that year. The stat courtesy of Elias. Let's take it out to the table here because we've spent a lot of time this morning talking about the Celtics. And as you would say, rightfully so. They've had a lot of drama and all the rest of that. But can we stop for a minute and focus on Golden State here? I know that they're sort of on cruise control. I know they're periodically resting different guys. But boy, they have looked lousy of late.
I've said it multiple times. While the Golden State Warriors deserves to be the favorite, they will not have a cakewalk this year in the playoffs. I know the last couple of years have got the fans spoiled when they make it to the finals and win it all and only lose one game throughout the process. Their motto used to be strength in numbers, where they used to could go 9, 10 deep. Now they're relying solely on their starters, in particular all-stars. Boogie Cousins is now into that mix. They were playing without Klay Thompson yesterday in the show.
And as Boogie Cousins, I know you wanted to make a point that part of their defensive struggle comes because of him.
Absolutely. So while a talented offensive player and a terrific rebounder, all teams have strengths and weaknesses. You see DeMarcus Cousins right now guarding Tatum. That's a mismatch regardless. Okay, and the Celtics take advantage of it on the cut. Right here, you see Marcus Smart initiating offense. You see a little confusion by the Golden State Warriors. Same guy, uncontested layup, Jason Tatum, who's really good at basketball. You might want to check him. And here you see Gordon Hayward, who had 30 points coming in off the bench, a little flare action. He gets the open three. So when you have talent like the Boston Celtics, they exploit weaknesses. For the Golden State Warriors, they must tighten up.
And Seth, you made that point to me. The second you walked in today, you were talking about Boogie Cousins' defense.
Yeah, Boogie Cousins just doesn't fit with this Golden State Warriors team because he can't guard ball screens. He can't get back into play. You can't switch like they have in the past when they go undersized, which is a major problem. And he's combustible. And when you don't need a guy, when a team has great chemistry, great trust, all right, this team right here, I mean, look at right here. This is not a microcosm. This is who he is. Is he talented? Can he make shots? Can he score it on the block? Can he block some shots? He can do all those things. It's all about fit. And when I look at Boogie Cousins, as talented as he is, he doesn't make this team better because this team can't get stops with him on the floor. This team is not as consistent in their personality. And you want to win a championship, you've got one guy already in Draymond Green. You add another guy that's quote-unquote combustible to that equation, and all of a sudden, that impacts your chemistry.
Well, here's why they need Boogie, and I do believe he fits. Because when they go against teams like the Boston Celtics, who are going to play small in theory, you can put Andre Iguodala in the game to finish. But in the West, there's so many notable bigs you're going to need to get offense from in the paint. All of the top teams have it. Look at Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. He's going to continue to give you offense. You got Steven Adams, who we showed earlier, who's going to give you will. You got to make sure those guys are engaged and working. Capella for the Houston Rockets. So you need Boogie for those big guys. They're not going to be cutting on him from the three-point line, getting dunks like Jason
No,
Tatum.
but it impacts your defensive transition. It impacts when they put those guys in ball screens. It impacts a guy like Capella, who's in the dunker spot. He helps up. He can't recover to get back into play. And that's my thing.
I thought they just looked bored out there. Like, there were just some passes. We showed the highlight of Gordon Hayward just breaking on a pass and taking it the other way. You don't usually see that, really, from a Warriors
No
team.
Klay Thompson, no Iguodala.
We're not giving the Warriors they're bored and
he said timeout.
with the process and all of that. They got beat. They were playing without Klay Thompson. Gordon Hayward got off at the shooting guard spot. That left a hole. And defensively, he's a lockdown defender. He was not out there to do those switches and play up on those screens like you talked about.
I mean, they look like trash. I'm just saying they were bored.
Let
me get you a game that was not boring. Let's check out the Rockets taking on the Raptors. James Harden against Kawhi Leonard. And I'm going to take you straight to the second quarter. Rockets up 11 because a lot of people have to touch this ball. Defense turning into offense. Chris Paul in transition. Nene gets it over to Austin Rivers. Bucket.
That's how you give up a good shot to get a great shot. And like I've been telling people, there are going to be two teams in particular that will push the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh, this is one of them?
One is Houston. The other one's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
How about this? Rockets led 55-37, and that 18-point deficit is the largest halftime deficit the Raptors have had all season. But Kawhi starts to wake up. He has 26 points in this one, gets the jumper down the lane to go. Now the Raptors down just 8. Pascal Siakam to Danny Green.
Danny Green always gets overlooked when we talk about the Raptors and the dynamic of adding Kawhi Leonard. A champion that can make threes and will lock down defensively.
Siakam. Raptors go on a 23-4 run to take the 60-59 lead. Remember, they were down by 18. Kawhi goes to the bench. Rockets down 2. Green for another 3.
All I know is when Cat's rocking braids again, and I love to see it, Kawhi never left. He stayed faithful.
You're right. Well, 11-2 run happened when Kawhi went on the bench. He did leave, and then this started happening. James Harden had 19 of his 35 in the final quarter.
That's like poetry in motion. Like,
right?
seriously. That's like me watching Gregory Hines and somebody tap dance.
Or really,
like that's really beautiful to watch that footwork by James Harden.
It's like you watching Greeny host this show.
Correct.
Poetry.
That's a better analogy.
In motion.
A much better analogy.
It is a great hump day. On December 8th, the Rockets fell to 11-14. That's the second worst record in the West. And since that date, they own the second best record in the NBA and the best record in their conference.
How about Duke?
Oh, let's do it. Number 4, Duke. All of my mics keep falling off. Taking on Wake Forest.
Maria's having issues.
Okay, and so is Zion Williamson because he hasn't been able to play in 4 straight games. Dwayne Wade is in the building to watch. We'll take you to the second half. Wake Forest has won 4 conference games, but they're putting up buckets. Childress score.
Yeah, Childress running the floor, knocked it down. He took over the game for a period of time right here, attacking in transition. Duke did a poor job of containing the ball, getting back in transition. No rim protection because no Zion Williamson.
Yeah, Childress knocking down that 3. Wake opens up the second half on a 15-4 run. Now Trey Jones got to get involved, knocks down that 3. Duke down just 7. R.J. Barrett, he's always in control.
R.J. Barrett, his ability to get in the lane, finish, reminds me of DeMar DeRozan.
Later, we get Barrett, the pass to Cam Reddish. He missed his first 6 shots, Coach. That was a big 3, though.
That was his first field goal in the game with 11 minutes left in the second half.
Under 4 remaining. Alex O'Connell, he can knock down 3s, though. Puts Duke up by 3. Barrett from the wing and the score. Barrett again knocking down the lay-in with that one, getting the 1-point win, barely on senior night.
I want to thank you. And I really believe that we won because you made so much noise that the noise reverberated off of that wall and knock that damn thing out.
Because somebody's got to, because, Zion's not in there, so he can't get the block. According to BPI, Duke can practically lock up a 1 seed if they beat Carolina on Saturday. But the Blue Devils continue to be without Zion, and Coach K acknowledged it. With this absence yesterday, it's really been affecting his team, but there is talks of Zion returning.
Playing with not a full deck has been very difficult. We thought it was going to be easier, and when it wasn't, we're not old enough and we're not played together enough where you have all your pieces where then you can just, you don't have to be up, but you have to be good. And we're not, with our guys being, we're not there right now. So then we better be ready and go after it.
I want to bring Jay Bayless into the conversation here. He's heard from Coach K there, and he also said he does not expect Zion to play Saturday when they play Carolina. So I would ask you this, Jay. At what point do you start to become concerned that they will not have enough time working him back into things to be as ready as they need to be when the NCAA tournament starts?
I think if it went beyond the ACC tournament, then you would have some real concerns going into the NCAA tournament. I think if Zion Williamson is back by the start of the ACC tournament, there's enough time for him to reintegrate himself into the team concept and for everybody to feel completely comfortable with how they're playing as they go into the NCAA tournament. And that, at this stage of his career, that's what Coach K is concerned about most, is winning the ultimate championship in March. So I think they'll be fine if he comes back by the start of the ACC tournament. I think that's more than enough time.
And so, as I mentioned, they play Carolina on Saturday. Does that feel like a game for a 1 seed? Do you think the winner is a 1 seed? Do you think the loser is potentially a 1 seed as well?
I think if Carolina wins the game, there's a scenario where you could see both of them be 1 seeds. I don't think you'll see both of them 1 seeds by the end of this, though, because they've got to play each other, obviously, on Saturday. Then they've got to go through the ACC tournament. And I think the committee is going to honor a team from the Southeastern Conference. If Tennessee or Kentucky is able to win their tournament, I think one of those two will get that number 1 seed. I think Virginia is a lock and Gonzaga is a lock. The only other open ones are the other two. And I think Duke has the inside track for it if they're able to win on Saturday and then do well in the ACC tournament.
And so as you look at it, between Tennessee and Kentucky, because that's the other teams that have sort of gotten under the radar because there's been so much attention to Duke and company, which of those two teams do you think winds up coming out of that?
Probably Tennessee, because Reed Travis is out. If Reed Travis were there, I would have loved to have seen that game in Knoxville if he were playing because of his physicality and how the game went the first one. But that was the Tennessee team that I'd come to know throughout the course of the year, with Jordan Bone being the best point guard in that league. And he proved it beyond a reasonable doubt with his 27 points. I think it's a toss-up as to who's the best team. I thought it was Kentucky, but without Reed Travis, it is not. If they're completely healthy, I think Kentucky is a smidge better.
All right, so Bayless has Virginia, Gonzaga, one of those teams from the SEC, and one of the teams between Duke and Carolina. Jay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, for me, life is just the downtime between Todd McShay's mock drafts. And one of them is out this morning, and he has a new number 1, and it's Kyler Murray, going number 1 overall to the Cardinals. He is sticking with Dwayne Haskins to the Giants at 6. There are 4 defensive players sandwiched between them. Here's more from McShay on the quarterbacks in this draft.
With Kyler, I struggled. I really struggled with this because my gut tells me that I'm being sold swampland down in Florida. But you talk to everyone in the league, and it seems to be like almost a consensus with executives that I spoke to that they think it's going to happen. And then also, when you look at it from a schematic standpoint, it makes a lot of sense bringing in Cliff Kingsbury and then having a quarterback that fits his system in terms of the air raid offense and the lack of protection at times and the ability for him with his mobility to get out and move and create something positive off of a negative play.
That was McShay with us live earlier this morning. We bring the big swagoo Marcus Spears back into the conversation. We've talked a lot about Kyler Murray here this morning, and you've expressed your overall thoughts that you are, like I am, somewhat skeptical. Having said that, you can't really have a conversation about him without also having a conversation about Dwayne Haskins. What are your impressions of him?
I love Dwayne Haskins. First of all, he played against 6 top 25 defenses. Kyler Murray played against 2, if you want to compare that. And then also, you look at Dwayne Haskins, he's the traditional quarterback that has had a lot of success in the NFL. Now, there are the horror stories of guys that had great one-year performances and then went pro and couldn't do it. We had this same conversation about Mitchell Trubisky when he was coming out of North Carolina with his last and final year at North Carolina. Here's the thing with me, though. This is why I'm sold on Dwayne Haskins more than anything. Ohio State would have lost 6 games without him at quarterback. I mean, we can't avoid the fact that this Ohio State team was bad on defense now, and which they have a lot of guys that'll be drafted in this draft, but they were bad. They gave up crazy amount of points. Offense sometimes was stagnant in the run game, which we didn't expect. Haskins literally carried Ohio State this year to an 11-1 record. Now, we could talk about the throwing and all of that, which is his accuracy is on point. He delivered in big-time moments. You talk about all of those things. I just can't get away from the fact that Dwayne Haskins, on a team that we thought would be in the college football playoff, would have lost probably 5 or 6 games without him being a quarterback.
Totally agree with that. And I think I even go back to the Michigan game because you want to go to points that are, a very pressure-filled situation for a quarterback. And, this is your rival and this is the best defense, one of the best defenses in the nation. And he threw 6 touchdown passes, was completely unfazed and looked perfectly fine. And you're right. There was a lackluster run game. And he only played 1 season, but don't forget that means he studied under Urban Meyer for an additional year, was in the film room and had to be prepared for every game, and obviously shows good leadership by just being supportive of the guy who's in front of him.
And we have the conversation about Lincoln Riley. We also have to remember that Ryan Day, the current head coach, was a high commodity on the next level as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm being told that we have an update here on another story in the NFL. So can I put that up? Here it is. This is a tweet from Adam Schefter just moments ago. Teams that have spoken to the Steelers about a potential Antonio Brown trade have been told that a deal is expected to be in place by Friday per league sources. Today is Wednesday. That means it's about 48 hours.
I'm going to be here when that's...
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. Real quickly, what are your thoughts on the Antonio Brown situation?
Antonio Brown is crazy. That's number 1. Number 2 is he's going to make somebody a hell of a better football team.
And who is that somebody? What are you willing to give up for him? Are you giving up a #1 draft, a first-round draft pick for him?
I'm giving up a good player in a second or a third-round draft pick. I'm not giving up a first because of where he is in his career.
The crazy doesn't outweigh the performance, in other words,
it does not.
Saying.
Look, winning, and we know we've seen enough crazy people play in the NFL.
Wide receiver, did we not expect that a little? Like, you got to have a little showtime in you. You got to be able to fight just a little bit. You have to have a little bit of personality.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think San Francisco is in a perfect situation. Obviously, you want to get Garoppolo a weapon because you got to justify paying him 17 Brinks trucks. And then you have young guys running that organization who probably works better with Antonio Brown's personality, like Sean McVay was able to do with all of those personalities that came into L.A.
Yeah, Brown is due some money next week. I'll get the exact details for you, but it's not a surprise they would want to get it done before they owe him some money. I'm just doing that off the top of my head, but I remember that conversation.
March is that month where them bonuses kick in.
Yeah, and then, of course, free agency begins. And so a team is going to want to know, in the free agent situation, do I have the receiver? Do I not have him? So, again, Adam Schefter reporting that teams expect that Antonio Brown will be dealt by Friday. Stay tuned. We'll have the very latest as that continues. We also have Charles Barkley joining us live in 10 minutes. Barkley, in 10 minutes on all the big stories around the NBA, including Charles Barkley talking about these NBA players who seem unhappy about everything. I can't wait to hear Barkley on that. And then we got A-Rod. Yes. Did you hear what Bryce Harper said about recruiting another superstar to the Phillies? A-Rod weighs in as we continue.